Hi everyone, Patrick Menninga here, spiritualriver.com. I want to talk to you today about holistic medicine and how holistic medicine can play a role in addiction and alcoholism recovery models. Now, it's my belief that most every model for recovery from addiction should be holistic. In other words, we shouldn't be narrowly focusing on one aspect of treatment like spirituality. So, this is a common theme that I see in the recovery world, is that a lot of programs focus very narrowly on the idea that spiritual growth is the solution, and that's the only solution, and that's exactly what you need to do in order to recover from addiction, is to enhance your spirituality, to find a higher power, to grow your faith, and that if you zero in on that's the way to recover. And in some cases that works, and in a lot of cases that's true for various people. It's certainly not true for everyone. And I would go so far as to argue that even for the people that is true, that they may be missing out on a certain quality of life that they could get from a more holistic approach. So essentially what this boils down to is looking at your own life and your own personal growth in a more comprehensive way. So spirituality is one aspect of your personal growth. But there's other areas of your life too. There's your physical health, your emotional health, your mental health, and your social health and your relationships. And so I think it's important in recovery to take a step back and look at all of those things and make sure that you're not neglecting any one area of your life and that you're making an effort to improve in all of those different areas. And what's really exciting about recovery is that once you do that and you start with this holistic approach, you'll realize that amazing things are happening based on personal growth in these different areas of your life that you never could have anticipated, you never could have predicted. You just had to start doing the work. For example, you start exercising every day, and maybe you think it's sort of silly at first and you don't see how it'll help you to recover, or how going for a walk for an hour a day will help you to not take a drink of alcohol. And so then maybe someone else is encouraging you to meditate and to work on your spiritual growth. And so you might have sort of that same idea, well, how will that help me to not take a drink? And then someone else might say, well, let's look at your relationships and how can you improve and enhance your relationships that you have already. And maybe you've got someone in your life who's toxic, and so you eliminate that relationship, you get away from that person, and you enhance these other ones that are more positive. So there's all these different things you can do, different areas of your life, and this is the holistic piece. And so you start working on all these things, and at first nothing's happening, and you're like, okay, well, I'm trying to recover, I'm trying not to drink, and I'm working on these things, but I don't really see how it's helping. Well, what happens is a couple of weeks later, a couple of months later, you look back and you've been doing this work all along and you're amazed and you say, oh my gosh, I've come so far, and this has happened and this has happened and this has happened, and it's all these amazing things have happened. You've got all these benefits in your life now that you didn't anticipate. You didn't see how the dots would get connected in the future based on this holistic growth. And nobody can see that. Nobody can predict that, because it sounds a little hokey, but when you're making personal growth in these different areas of your life, physical, emotional, relationships, spirituality, when you're pushing yourself to grow in those different areas, they start to interact and they start to enhance each other. And that's the part that you can't predict. That's the part that I can't even explain to you exactly how it's going to be amazing. I just know that if you do this work, if you use the holistic approach, and you start to push yourself to make personal growth in these different areas, that your life is going to be amazing as a result. There's going to be these interactions, benefits will come to you, amazing things will happen for you, and your life will just keep getting better and better. And one day you will look back and you'll say, oh my gosh, I've come so far in my recovery and I don't even know how it all happened. And so that is my hope for you, that you use a holistic approach and you do the work and have the faith that it's going to work out and that your life someday will be amazing as a result.